أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ثم الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه الأخيار أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, we thank Allah Almighty for giving us this opportunity to start our series of explanation into the book, the popular Arabic book, Al-AJRUMIYYA or Al-AJRUMIYYA. Inshallah, we are going to make use of the sharh or the explanation of Sheikh Muhammad bin Salih Al-Uthaymin. Inshallah, his explanation is very simple and it is very healthy for beginners. Okay, and even those who are deep into their faith. Okay, so we will go directly into we will drop aside the introductory aspect of all that and then go direct into the beginning of the book. Okay, Sheikh starts with الكلام وأقسامه. I think all the scholars of Arabic language, when you pick their book, the first topics you see are about al-kalam and then its partitions, its classifications or categories. Okay, so we will start from that point. That is directly from the first line of the book Al-Ajrumiyya. Okay. Imam says, Al-kalamu huwa al-lafzu al-murakkabu al-mufidu bil-wad'i wa aqsamuhu thalathatun ismun wa fi'lun wa harfun ja'a li ma'na fal-ismu يعرف بالخفض والتنوين ودخول الألف واللام وحروف الخفض وهي من وإلى وعن وعلى وفي ورب والباء والكاف واللام وحروف القسم وهي الواو والباء والتاء. Okay, so what we will do is we will explain a part of this in this first lesson. In this first lesson, we will explain a part of this words of Imam. So we read under تعريف الكلام, the definition of kalam. What is al-kalam? So Imam said, al-kalamu huwa al-lafzu al-murakkabu al-mufidu bil-wad'. That is how Imam defined al-kalam in his book. What does he mean by al-kalam? Al-kalam, per his definition, is not a general meaning. It is specific, field specific. That is what we call al-istilah. Because when we say al-kalam, speech or words, every field has what they consider as field, as kalam. So here he says, وَيُرِيدُ بِالْكَلَامِ هُنَا الْكَلَامُ في اصطلاح النحويين. What Imam seeks with al-kalam here is al-kalam fil istilah al-nahwiyin, in the terminology of the grammarians. That is what grammarians identify as al-kalam is al-lafzu al-murakkabu al-mufidu bil-wad'. That is what grammarians identify as al-kalam. Okay, what does he mean by al-lafzu? Al-lafzu ma'anahu huwa an-nutqu bil-lisan. When we say al-lafzu, it is a word that is pronounced by the mouth. Al-lafzu bimana al-lafzu bi shay. I pronounce something. So it has to be by the word of mouth. Okay, that is the first condition in the definition. It has to be by word of mouth. And again, he says al-murakkabu. Al-murakkabu yani tarqiban isnadiyan. Tarqiban isnadiyan. When we say isnad in grammar, we mean something that a sentence revolves around. That is, we talk about mubtada, we talk about fa'il, because the sentence has to describe something. Like I say, if I say fil bayt, this sentence does not have isnad, or this statement does not have isnad. If I say fil bayt, in the house what? There will still be question. I have to bring isnad. So I have to say fil bayti rajulun. That is, I have to give it a mubtada to give the sentence isnad. That is something to lean on. Or I will say zahaba. If I say zahaba, zahaba doesn't still have isnad. If I say zahaba al-gulamu, the boy is gone. In that case, I've given the sentence a pillar to lean on. That is what we call isnad. And in that, we call the sentence tarkiban isnadiyan. That is, the sentence is complete. It has something, it has a khabar, something it is informing, and it has what it is informing about, which is the isnad. So when we talk about isnad in grammar, we are looking at mubtada, we are looking at fa'il, and I don't know if there are any others, but this is just it. Okay, it says al-murakkabu yani tarkiban isnadiyan. That it has to be a complete construction. تحصل به الفائدة. تحصل به الفائدة. That is, benefit should be gained from it. It has to be a complete sentence that gives benefit, that gives meaning. Al-fa'ida in Nahu, whenever we see it, we should tune our mind to meaning. Whenever we say al-fa'ida, ay yahsul bihi al-ma'na, we get we get meaning from this tarkib. Okay, so he says بخلاف المركب تركيبا إضافيا, as against. بخلاف means as against المركب تركيبا إضافيا, a construction or a sentence that is on تركيبا إضافيا. تركيبا إضافيا is when we have مضاف and مضاف إليه. That is the possessed and the possessor. That is like you saying Abdullahi or Sayyaratul Muhandisi, the engineer's car. This you haven't said anything. To the grammarians, this is not kalam. This is not kalam to the grammarians. If you say Sayyaratul Muhandisi, what has the engineer's car done? You get it? You have to bring an isnad, or you have to bring a khabar. Sayyaratul Muhandisi becomes the mubtada. Then you bring a khabar. You say Sayyaratul Muhandisi Jamilatun. In that case, you've completed it. So tarkiban idafiyan does not have does not give a complete meaning. That is what we say prepositional phrase. Prepositional, no, not afwan, not prepositional phrase, but possessive phrase. Possessive phrase or possessive construction. Okay. So he says بخلاف المركب تركيبا إضافيا, and he says هذا ليس بكلام. تركيبا إضافيا, when you see مضاف مضاف إليه, to the grammarians this is not a kalam. This is not considered kalam. لا بد أن يكون تركيبا إسناديا. It must definitely be a تركيبا إسناديا. تركيبا إسناديا, as explained, that is a complete sentence. Okay. المفيد فائدة يحسن السكوت عليها. This sentence means, it's because in the definition it says اللفظ المركب المفيد. المفيد here he refers to فائدة يحسن السكوت عليها. It gives such a meaning that the listener can just keep quiet because he has heard enough. That is when you tell somebody the man is in, or the man has come. The man you were waiting for has come. You've told the person a complete sentence. The person doesn't need to say which man, because you know who you're talking about. When you give the person a complete information, yuhsinu sukut alayh, the person can keep quiet on it because he has a full information. As against when you give the person a short information, where the person will need to demand, what is it? Like you tell the person in the school, what? The person has understood something, but it's not a complete meaning that he has to keep quiet on. He need to ask you, in the school what? Get it? So, la yuhsinu sukut alayha. Okay. So it says, al-mufidu ay fa'idatan yuhsinu sukut alayha. ولو اشترط أن تكون الفائدة جديدة. This walau, I don't know if it's the print, but I feel it is ولا يشترط أن تكون الفائدة جديدة. Or if you take it ولو اشترط أن تكون الفائدة جديدة. Even if the meaning needs to be new. The fa'idah, that is the benefit, needs to be something new. Here, what we mean by al-fa'idatu, an takuna al-fa'idatu jadidatan, is that the meaning you are giving the person should be something the person doesn't know. Ay fa'idatun jadidatun, something new. Okay. Hatta law kana bi fa'idatin ma'lumatin, even if it is something that the person already knows, fala ba'sa, there is no problem. Yusamma kalaman, it is still kalaman to the nahwiyin. That is if I come to you and I tell you Abdul Majid is a graduate of the University of Ghana. We know Abdul Majid is a graduate of the University of Ghana. I haven't said anything new, but to the grammarian, this is kalam. It's not necessarily that the meaning I'm giving should be new. What is necessary is that the meaning should be complete. أي فائدة يحسن السكوت عليها. أيوة. Okay. Again, then he says, so per the definition, we have al-lafzu al-murakkab al-mufidu. Okay. So by him saying al-lafzu, Imam says, Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen says, فَخَرَجَ بِقَوْلِنَا al-lafzu. By we saying al-lafzu, we've automatically taken out al-kitabatu, that is writing. فَالْكِتَابَةُ عِنْدَ النَّحْوِيِّينَ لَيْسَتْ كَلَامًا. Writing, in terms of the grammarians, is not kalam. وَخَرَجَ بِهِ الْإِشَارَةُ. And also we've taken out al-ishara, that is giving signs. فَالْإِشَارَةُ لَيْسَتْ كَلَامًا. Giving sign or pointing is not kalam. وَلَوْ فُهِمَتْ. Even if it is understood. With regards to the Arabic grammarians, that is not kalam. وَلِهَذَا لَوْ أَشَرْتَ لِإِنسَانٍ وَاكِفٍ بِالْجُلُوسِ. And due to this, وَلِهَذَا, and for this, or and because of this, لَوْ أَشَرْتَ لِإِنسَانٍ وَاكِفٍ. If you point to somebody standing, بِالْجُلُوسِ, to sit down, مَا سُمِّيَ كَلَامًا. This is not called kalam to the grammarians. When you are there, you point to somebody to sit down. You indicate to somebody to sit down. To the grammarians, you've not said anything. It's not kalam. وَلَوْ قُلْتَ. Even if you say, and if you should say, ijlis, you command the person, ijlis, with the word of mouth. صَارَ كَلَامًا. It has now become kalam. وَلَوْ رَأَيْتَ شَخْصًا. And if you should see a person, واقفا, standing, فَكَتَبْتَ fi warakatin, and you wrote in a paper, ijlis, sit down. You command the person by writing to sit down. فَإِنَّهُ لَا يُسَمَّى كَلَامًا. It will not be called kalaman in the nahwiyin, to the grammarians. This wouldn't be considered as kalam because it is written. He says, limaza, why wouldn't this be considered kalam? لِأَنَّهُ لَيْسَ بِلَفْظٍ, because it is not by word of mouth. هُوَ يُسَمَّى كَلَامًا فِي الشَّرْعِ. When you write, it is called kalam in sharia. Those doing sharia. That is why we should know definition in field specific. When it is a terminology, you should know it in field specific. When you know something in hadith, a definition of something in hadith, you do not forcibly apply it in the definition as it is in the Quran. You do not forcibly apply it in whilst reading stories. You don't force it in any field. You have to know how it is defined in the specific field. Okay, so in Sharia, if you should write something, it is considered. Okay, so he gives us a proof. وَإِلَّا فَإِنَّ الرَّسُولَ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. If not, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم جعل الوصية المكتوبة كالوصية المنطوقة. The Prophet made it a will, الوصية المكتوبة, a written will. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم made it كالوصية المنطوقة, like the pronouns or the will that is said by word of mouth. So the Prophet made, if you write a will, it is just as you are saying it with your mouth. It is considered as you are saying it with your mouth. And he gives us a hadith. He says, مَا حَقُّ امْرِئٍ مُسْلِمٍ يَبِيتُ لَيْلَتَيْنِ لَهُ شَيْءٌ يُرِيدُ يُوصِي فِيهِ ما حق امرئ مسلم يبيت ليلتين. It is not right for a Muslim to sleep 2 nights. له شيء يريد يوصي فيه, whilst he has something he wants to will about, whilst he has a will he wants to write. يبيت ليلتين إلا ووصيته مكتوبة عنده. His will must be written with him. That is, it is not permitted for a Muslim to sleep 2 nights whilst he has a will to write without writing it. His will must be written with him. So a written will is considered in Sharia just as the one you pronounce with your mouth. So if the lawyers come, or the qudat, they pick the will, written one, it is just considered as a person is standing and saying it. But the grammarians wouldn't see this as kalam. They don't see it as a speech, as anything. Ayo. Okay, so al-murakkabu, we saying al-murakkabu, ayani alladhi yatarakkabu min kalmataini fa'akthar. That which is formed of 2 words and more, or more. Walau taqdiran, even if something, one of the words is hidden. فَإِذَا قُلْتَ. Because in Arabic, sometimes we say some part of the sentence, we leave some part. Not that it is not there. It is there, but it is hidden. So, فَإِذَا قُلْتَ, if you should say, هَلْ هَذَا لَفْظٌ. If you should say, hal, the Imam is giving an example, or Sheikh is giving an example with hal. If I say hal, هَذَا لَفْظٌ, this is a lafz. It qualifies to be a lafz. لَكِنَّهُ لَيْسَ مُرَكَّبًا, but it is not murakkab, it is not compound. That it is standing alone. It is one word. When we say murakkaban, bimana compound, we have 2 parts or more. فَلَا يُسَمَّى كَلَامًا عِنْدَ النَّحْوِيِّينَ. If you should say just hal, it wouldn't be called kalam with the grammarians, or the grammarians wouldn't consider this as kalam. لَا بُدَّ أَنْ يَتَرَكَّبَ مِنْ كَلِمَتَيْنِ فَأَكْثَرَ. It must definitely be a compound made of 2 words or more. تَحْقِيقًا, either all the words are shown clearly, we hear all the words clearly, أو تقديرا, or some part of it is hidden, but it is there in meaning. فمثلا, for example, تحقيقا, إذا قلت, to bring in all the words out. If you should say, قام زيد, Zaydun has stood up, or Zaydun stood up. هذا مركب من قام وزيد. This is compound made of قام and Zaydun. تحقيقا, that is, تحقيقا here means every one of the words is clear, we can hear it. وتقديرا, and also when we giving an example for the تقديرا, where some of the words are hidden. تقديرا إذا قلت, if you should say kum, if you command somebody kum, stand up. هذا لم يتركب هذا لم يتركب من كلمتين تحقيقا. This is not a compound made of 2 plain words that we can hear. ولكن تقديرا, but it is a compound, some part of it is hidden. لأن kum, because if you say kum, فيها ضمير مستتر, there is in it a hidden pronoun. ضمير مستتر, a hidden pronoun. في قوة البارز, it is hidden in the strength of the one that is apparent. That is, it is understood to be apparent because of the way of the speech. When we say kum, it is understood that there is a hidden pronoun. That is the one being commanded. So if I say kum, I mean kum anta, or kum aywa, kum anta. That is, there is another word there. That is, it is understood. If I should tell you stand up, you know you is there. I'm commanding you. فَهِيَ مُرَكَّبَةٌ مِّن كَلِمَتَيْنِ, and so it is made of 2 words. Okay. Again, al-mufidu. Al-muradu bil-mufidu. What is intended in the definition by al-mufidu? أي ما أفاد السامع, that which benefits the listener, that is that which gives meaning to the listener. بحيث such that لا يتشوف بعده إلى غيره, he does not anticipate after listening to it or after hearing it to something else. If I tell you that, oh, I went to school, or if I should tell you that I am tired, I think it is a complete sentence, and you don't really demand me saying anything more. When I give you a complete sentence, I am not, the listener is okay if you give a complete sentence. It is only when you don't give a complete sentence that the listener requires for more. So فَإِذَا قُلْتَ, if you should say نَجَحَ الطَّالِبُ, the student passed. أَفَادَ, this gives a meaning. السَّامِعُ لَا يَتَشَوَّفُ إِلَى غَيْرِ هَذَا, the listener does not look up to other than this, something else. The listener has heard a complete sentence. لكن إذا قلت, but if you should say إن نجح الطالب, if the student passes, هذا مركب لا شك فيه, this is of course a compound. It's made of more than one word. لا شك فيه, no doubt. لا شك, no doubt. فيه, it has in it. In and نجح, in, that is if نجح passed, الطالب, the student. ثلاث كلمات, it has three ways. لكنه لم يفد, but it does not give any meaning. It has no benefit. فالسامع إذا قلت له, because the listening, if you should say to him إن نجح الطالب, if the student passes, فهو يتشوف, he anticipates. What next? If he passes, what next? What happens? إذن لا نسمي هذا كلاما, and so we do not call this kalam, because لماذا, why? لأنه لم يفد فائدة, it didn't give a meaning. لا يتشوف السامع بعدها إلى غيره, it didn't give a meaning that quenches the thirst of the listener. That is, the listener does not anticipate anything else. Okay. ولو قلت, if you should say إن نجح غلام عبد الله الطيب الطاهر, this is of course مركب, كلمات كثيرة, a lot of words. يكون كلاما أم لا, is it a kalam or not? Sheikh is asking. يكون كلاما أم لا, because it is مركب بأكثر من كلمتين. He says لا يكون, it will not be الكلام. لماذا? Why? لأن السامع لم يفد شيئا, he did not get any meaning. يقول أعطني الفائدة, give me the meaning. If you say إن نجح غلام عبد الله الطيب, غلام عبد الله الطيب الطاهر, if you should say there's a lot of words, but it is nothing, the listener will still be watching you, waiting for more. أعطني الفائدة, give me what you intend to say. إذن لا بد من فائدة لا يتشوف السامع بعدها إلى شيء. Then, for you to have a kalam, you have to give a meaning that the listener will not anticipate any other thing. ولا فرق بين أن تكون الفائدة جديدة أو معلومة. There is no difference if the benefit we are talking about here or the meaning we are talking about here is something that we already know or something new, a new info or an old info. The grammarians only consider does it give a beneficial meaning? Does it give a meaning? If it gives a meaning, then it is kalam. Okay, فَلَوْ قُلْتَ السَّمَاءُ فَوْقَنَا, if you should say the sky is above us, this we already know. كَانَ كَلَامًا مَعَ أَنَّهُ مَعْلُومٌ, it is considered kalam, even though it is already known. If you should say al-ardu tahtana, kalamun mufid, to the grammarians it is a beneficial sentence, it's a complete sentence. So a poet said, كأننا والماء من حولنا قوم جلوس حولهم ماء. The poet said, كأننا والماء من حولنا, it is as if water is around us. قوم جلوس, a people sitting, حولهم ماء, around them is water. This is almost raw, if you should say rubbish. Because if you say it is as if you are sitting and there is water around us. The second bait says, a people sitting and water is around them. It has nothing. It is almost nothing. But the sentence gives a meaning. If it gives a meaning, then it is kalamun mufidun. It's a beneficial sentence, complete sentence. مع أن هذا تحصيل الحاصل أو تحصيل حاصل. تحصيل حاصل is the obvious. Even though this is the obvious. مع أن, even though هذا تحصيل حاصل. This is the obvious. When we say تحصيل حاصل, something everybody knows, something obvious, nothing new. إذا كان الماء حولكم فأنتم جلوس حول الماء. Of course, if water is around you, then you are sitting with water around you. It is not, no, you haven't said anything. But in the definition again, Sheikh has said اللفظ المركب المفيد بالوضع. He added الوضع. بالوضع, what does Sheikh mean in the definition with بالوضع? مراده بالوضع أمران. What he means can be classified into two. الأول, the first, أن يكون الواضع له قاصدا وضعه. That the one who is saying this, أن يكون الواضع, the one who is saying it, واضع له قاصدا وضعه, the person intends to say it. That is one of the meaning of بالوضع. فخرج بذلك كلام السكران. If you define it this way, بالوضع, this way, that the person who is saying it intends it. In that case, if you intend it, that's when we consider it kalam. But if you do not intend it, we don't consider it kalam. In this case, the words of the sakran will be taken out, the one who is drunk, because he doesn't know what he's saying. And the mad person, wal majnoon, wal naimi, and the one sleeping, wal hadhi, and the one who is taken by trance or confused. All these people do not know what they are saying. So if you define bil wada as the person saying it should intend it before it becomes kalam, then all these people, their words will not be considered kalam. هذا لا يسمى كلاما, the words of سكران, مجنون, نائم, هذه. لأن واضعه ليس قاصدا له, because the one saying it does not intend it. Okay, this is one. Not a really strong definition for bil wada. الثاني, the second, which I think is supposed to be what Sheikh AL-AJRUMIYYA means with بالوضع. أن يكون بالوضع العربي. What the words or the sentence should be as the Arabs have placed it. As the Arabs, it should fall on the meters of the Arab. That is, you shouldn't say something that is not in line with Arabic language. فلو جاءنا كلام يفيد فائدة لا يتشوف السامع بعدها إلى شيء. فلو جاءنا كلام, if we should get a statement, somebody should say something with full meaning that the listener does not demand any addition. لكن العرب لا يفهمونها, but the Arab do not understand it. فإنه لا يسمى كلاما. In that case, it will not be called kalam. If you tell me أنا طالب new, أنا new طالب. In that case, you've inserted an English word. Just an example. This line is not kalam with regards to the Arab, because this is not how the Arabs placed it. Arabs will say أنا طالب جديد. They won't say أنا new طالب. So we can understand it from this angle. أي يكون, لازم يكون كما وضعه العرب. Just as the Arabs speak their language, it should match. That is the classical language, of course. Okay. لابد أن يكون بالوضع العربي بمعنى, meaning أنه مطابق للغة العربية. It must match with Arabic language. It must be in tandem with Arabic language. وإلا لم يكن كلاما عند النحويين. If not, then it is not kalam with regards to the grammarians. Okay, so with all these, the chains are three, or the locks are three. It says there are four. Afwan. إذن القيود أربعة. The locks are four. Al-lafzu, in the definition, what you need to focus on is al-lafzu, al-murakkabu, al-mufidu, bil-wad'i. لا يكون الكلام كلاما إلا بهذا القيود الأربعة. A statement that is said a statement can never be considered kalam, a speech or a statement with regards to the grammarians, except when it has all these four: al-lafzu, al-murakkabu, al-mufidu, and it's also bil-wad'i. Okay. So if somebody says Bismillahi ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Sheikh is saying that Hal haza kalamun am ghayru kalam? Is this kalam or not? And Sheikh says kalamun. Yes, it is kalam. هل هو مركب من كلمتين فأكثر حقيقة أو تقديرا? Is this a compound? Is it a compound statement made of two or more words? And that too, are all its words apparent or some are hidden? حقيقة أم تقديرا أو تقديرا? So the answer is, it is kalam. Yes, but it is kalam تقديرا. لأن التقدير, because what is hidden is Bismillahi aqra'u, ay Bismillahi Rahman Rahim aqra'u. In the name of Allah I am reading, or I am reading in the name of Allah. This makes it, if you bring the hidden word which is aqra'u, then it becomes complete. If not, it looks like a phrase. لو لم تقدر aqra'u, if the aqra'u is not considered as hidden, ma sara kalaman, then it is not a kalam. That is, if the aqra'u is taken off completely and somebody argues that no, there is no aqra'u, there is no verb there to make it complete. In that case, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim is no kalam in terms of the Arabic grammarians. They don't consider that as kalam. وَلِهَذَا لَوْ تَقُولُ, if you should say, because of this, if you should say, الرجل القدير البارئ الفاهم, the able al-qadir, the able al-bari'u, God-fearing, al-fahim, understanding man, if you should say all this, tati bi awsafin adidatin, you are bringing a lot of descriptions. La yusamma haza kalaman, this is not called kalam. Hatta tati bi shay'il al-mufid, until you bring something beneficial. Because if you tell me al-rajul al-qadiru al-bari'u al-fahimu, you keep describing the man, you've not told me anything yet. لأن السامع لا يزال يتطلع, يتطلع is the synonym for يتشوف. لا يزال يتطلع أو يتشوف إلى شيء, because the listener is still waiting for you, is still anticipating, looking up to hearing something from you. Okay. So this brings us to the end of the first session, and I will want you to, at every step, if you can do your best to memorize what we've done. It will be amazing. What we've done today, the whole of this talk is about the definition, تعريف الكلام, and the definition as Sheikh has placed it is الكلام هو اللفظ المركب المفيد بالوضع. Let's take note of this. And take note of what is referred to by al-kalam, what is referred to by al-lafzu, what is referred to by al-murakkabu, what is referred to by al-mufidu, and what is referred to by bil-wad'. Because this book is a very small, tiny book, very, very tiny book, but it's in size, it is tiny, but in essence, it is voluminous. Scholars have explained it in volumes of books, and so that is why on a short bait or a short line, we will have a long explanation. And I'm sure the style of the book is very helpful in this sense. Okay, so we will end it here. You read over again, listen over again to make sure it sits with you. Nahu is about understanding. Arabic grammar is about understanding. It should merge with you, so that whenever you see something, you know that this matches with grammar or this is against grammar. Okay, inshallah, may Allah bless our knowledge for us. May we have a very good understanding of grammar, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi al-akhyar. Allahumma ij'alna mimman yastami'una al-qawl wa yattabi'una ahsana. Allahumma allimna ilman nafi'a اللهم علمنا علما نافعا. اللهم علمنا علما نافعا. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.